Hi, everybody. This is James Van Praagh, and I want to thank you very much for joining me today here. I just want to discuss a little bit about a subject matter which comes up quite often in my work as a spiritual medium. I've been doing this work for 40 years now, long time. An overwhelming theme that comes up over and over again with most people are unresolved traumas, situations, experiences that they perhaps had as a child, or at teenage years, and even in adulthood, which they really haven't looked at or dealt with or delved into. And it affects their lives in many different ways without them really being conscious of how it affects the choices they make in life, the people they bring to them in life, and their experiences in life, and how they love or don't love themselves. A lot of people get caught up in that trauma, and they make that trauma more real than it was originally. They make it stronger. The more they think about it, the more it becomes part of their lives. Think of unresolved trauma kind of like, I don't know, you're picking up rocks and you keep the rocks in your pocket. And the more traumas you have, or the more you think about it, the rocks are heavier and heavier, you add more rocks. And eventually it brings you down. So when you push down these traumas and repeat that behavior and that pattern over and over again, you can't be free. You can't be released from that. And your perspective of how you look at life is really coded, if you will, or colored by those traumas, by those experiences that are unresolved. And the best way to, I think, live life and be free is to really kind of deal with everything that we're given. I believe that when we come back on this earth, there are various lessons our soul must go through. And many of the most traumatic experiences we go through are the ones we learn the most from. So I think it takes a lot of courage and a lot of faith and a lot of work to go within yourself and to understand yourself and see how you feel about dealing with this trauma. How is it affecting your life and in which way? And what can you do about it? How can you get back to loving yourself more than anyone else could? I think the first way is to delve within and see what these lessons of trauma, these experiences, if you will, what they taught you in this life, and how you tend to behave based upon that. And also, are you free? Are you free to live life fully? Are you free to give out your own opinion? Are you free to say what you want? And are you free to do what you want? Or are you held back by the past, by old patterns, old ways of being? And as you free yourself up and release yourself, it's very, very interesting. Magnetically around us, these lovely fields of energy, when we free ourselves up and we allow ourselves to surrender to who we are and be who we are, and just see those traumas, those experiences as experiences to grow and learn from, we open up these fields, and like attracts like. Your life will change. You'll start drawing to those beings, those people in your life who are free, who are on the same level of self-realization. And I do believe one can only be truly happy in this lifetime if they are self-aware and they are really in alignment with their true loving self. So today, I wanted to share with you that information and that I just thought of discovery. Maybe it's an inkling or a different way of thinking for you. So one of the common questions a lot of people have are, James, how do I deal with my trauma? How can I move on? How can I be free? Well, the first step, I think, in healing those past traumas, number one, and one of the hardest, but one of the most worthwhile, is forgiveness. Is to really try to understand that maybe those people that might have hurt you, had done something to you, said something to you, whatever the situation, maybe they didn't realize, who you were, what level you were at. Maybe you didn't realize what their limitations were. We tend to judge other people quickly without thinking, without taking into consideration what their background is. What was their childhood like? Were they loved by parents? Were they isolated? What happened to them? And they might have been acting out their trauma, right? Their unresolved trauma. So forgiveness is a gift we give ourselves. It frees us up. If we can't forgive, it's like a slow cancer that eats at us. And I believe that the freedom is to forgive, to try to understand. And by forgiving another person, you're actually teaching them as well that this is the only way to be. Again, we don't know the full story, so let's take the high road, less traveled, and forgive. As a spiritual medium, I've brought through thousands and thousands of spirits, and the commonality that they share when they first pass to the other side is regret. They have regret. And they say, oh, if only I behaved differently. If only I chose love instead of fear. And they would talk about regrets and not forgiving and guilt, resentments, things that they didn't accomplish and didn't do, that they could have easily if they chose to live in love and also not care what other people thought of them. So I heard this over and over again for years, and I decided to write a book about it because I was tired of spirits saying, if only I knew then what I know now, I would have chosen love and forgiveness. So I wrote a book called Unfinished Business. And that's all about, and said, what the dead teach us about life. It's a good book about that. And it talks all about forgiveness and no resentments and living fully and living in the moments. So it's really, really important. I also think that we should create a gratitude list, a list of gratitude, things that we're grateful for. Remember that we only have today, this moment now. The past has already happened, and the future is yet to be. So what we really have is this moment now. Try to make the most of this moment now by bringing that energy of love, forgiveness, and gratitude to every single moment. So all of this information for the years, people would ask me, can you put this down? Can you write this down? And I decided to create an online school as my legacy. And one of the courses I really look forward to creating was a spiritual healing certification course. And the spiritual certification course, the healing certification course, it incorporates techniques, methods, ways of looking within yourself, healing those parts of yourself that perhaps are traumatized, that are still in fear, that are still worried what people think about you. And these different, if you will, exercises, methods to go deep within and connect with your loving self. I believe that all of us have an energy, which is a healing energy, a creative energy. And once we're free, we can tap in to that healing vibration and bring a completeness, a wholeness to all different experiences. When I talk about healing, mental healing, emotional healing, spiritual healing, and even physical healing, when we're in that zone of receptivity and surrender and pure love, so much can happen. So I wanted to create this course, so it's a guide, step-by-step guide on how you can use various techniques and methods, insights, to open yourself up to who you are and to use that healing energy in ways that you are meant to. So I hope these words resonate with you, and I've enjoyed sharing this time with you. And if you'd like further information on exploring this spiritual healing certification course, I think you'll get a lot out of it. Please go to my online school, which is the JVP School of Mystical Arts. And that is really my legacy. And I know that you will really enjoy it and get a lot out of it. And perhaps it'll change your life. I believe it will. Thanks.